So when I have two parallel lines that are cut by a transversal, there are a lot of special angle pairs that are created. So first here, these orange lines, I'm going to mark them with these little arrows to indicate that they are parallel. Okay, so that's a way that we can show on a diagram that we have parallel lines. So because these lines are parallel, when the transversal cuts through, it creates these two intersection points, and at each intersection, we will have some matching angle measures. Okay, so if you'll notice at this top intersection, there are two acute angles and two obtuse angles. Same thing in the second intersection. There are two acute angles and two obtuse angles. So all four of the acute angles have the same measure. They're all congruent. All four of the obtuse angles, they all have the same measure. They are all congruent. So first let's talk about corresponding angles. So corresponding angles are in the exact same position at their intersection. So at the top intersection, this angle here is, I can think of it as the top right angle. So its matching angle down here would be this one, because at this intersection, it's in the top right position. So that is corresponding angles. Corresponding meaning they go together, they're in the same spot. Okay, for the other important pairs, we have, we need to understand the difference between interior angles and exterior angles. So interior means in between the parallel lines. So in this case, the angles that are inside of these two orange lines. So these two are interior and these two are interior. Exterior means outside of the orange lines. So these two angles out here and these two angles out here would be exterior. So one type of angle that's used a lot, we'll see it a lot for like other finding missing angles questions, are alternate interior. So alternate means on different sides. So this angle here would be alternate interior with this angle. Alternate because they are on different sides of the transversal. They're on different sides of the blue line. This is on the left of the blue. This angle's on the right of the blue. And then interior because they are in between the orange lines, so alternate interior. Those are my red ones. Alternate exterior means different sides of the blue line, but outside of the parallel lines. So for example, this angle here and this angle here, and they are congruent. So my alternate interior, the red angles, those are congruent to each other. Any pair of alternate exterior, like these green angles, they are congruent to each other. Now, the red and the green are not congruent. They're supplementary. Okay, so the last thing that we need to know, which is another example of supplementary, would be same side interior. So same side of the transversal, interior meaning in between the orange lines. So this angle I had here would be same side interior as this angle. So they're both on the right side of the blue line of the transversal, and they are in between those parallel lines. Now these two angles are not necessarily congruent unless all of these angles are right angles. In my example here, they are not. So let's say that this angle measures 60 degrees. Then this angle right here, the same side interior, would be supplementary. So it would measure 120. So let's go ahead and mark the remaining angles. So I know that these two are corresponding. They're in the same spot, so this angle is also 60 degrees. I marked earlier these green angles. They are alternate exterior. They are congruent, so this is also 60 degrees. And then these two are vertical, which we know from before. We learned vertical angles a couple weeks ago. So this angle is also 60 degrees. So all four of the acute angles in these intersections, all four of the acute angles have the same measure of 60 degrees, whereas all of the obtuse angles will have the same measure of 120. So these two are congruent, they're vertical. That's also 120. The other pair, these will also be 120 degrees.